Okay, so that was the volunteer barrage. And then what are these?
Those are reseeded Russian kale. So we'll probably, I was thinking we'll probably maybe grow some in here a little bit later. But we could also use it you could use this for salads and all kinds of different things. So you just have, this is little baby greens that you buy. So you could grow them that way.
And then transplant it into a bigger one?
You can either plant it into another pot and you can make it grow bigger, or you can eat those. So you can wait for them to get bigger and then eat them. This is really good for people who say they don't have room to grow plants. So, but you can get these little windowsills and you can grow your own kale. I mean, it's not a problem, or even lettuce. You could put lettuce and wait till it gets, you know, and just cut off the leaves, and then they'll just keep on growing over and over. You won't get huge amounts of food, but at least you'll have some of your own food. So, and then this is
where the tomatoes used to be.
This is where the tomatoes used to be. This is our experiment. Unfortunately, the heat has really taken a toll on our kale. All around here.
We had kale all over. I almost risked my life with a black widow there.
And then we've also replanted it. If you remember before, we had nothing but clover. So this is our clover, and this is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want clover completely.
When did we have the clover? Because before when? Before the kale or before the tomatoes?
Before the kale.
Okay.
So before the kale, what happened is, what I did is I worked the soil and then I put the clover in there. Because my experiment is that I want the clover to provide nitrogen, and using it as a cover crop to provide nitrogen for the kale. And so far, it's working pretty well. This is growing pretty big.
That's a kale that survived from the first batch we planted?
Yes. And then we've got little babies that I interplanted with it again. When we and those seem to be doing good because the clover helps protect them from the heat.
And what are these?
It's also providing nutrients. This is to keep
chives.
This is garlic chives to keep the cabbage loopers away.
Okay.
So far it seems to be working, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, you don't seem munched or anything. And the interesting thing is that most of the stuff is growing in the edges. Yeah. Fairy circle. I'm joking.
So we have a little bit here that's growing too, but it's by itself. But you notice that the plants aren't as big. So
it's been really hot.
Yeah, it's been pretty hot. So what I'm going to do is, I will be, when it cools down a lot more, we'll just go ahead and seed directly the more kale in here, and maybe some chard. We have some Swiss chard, so maybe I'll put some Swiss chard in here, and then we'll plant some more of the clover in there too, so that it can provide nitrogen.
So as you can see, we have more kale. We love kale.
Red winter, which is pretty much the same.
You see how bright it is already? I don't know what time it is, around 10. Meh. And this is lavender. And our roses are growing really neat right now, even though it's really hot. Well, those are being killed by the sun. Well, yesterday was around the hundreds. This is the sweet basil, our Mediterranean basil. It's kind of big, so that's good. I like that the leaves are so big because I can use them on our smoothies, and we use them a lot for cooking too. The peppers, as you can see, they're still growing, taller, and well, they're big. There, let me show you. Okay, this is my hand, this is a pepper, so they're a decent size. That's good. I like that. Okay, so here we have some of the seedlings, even though it's been so hot. As you can see, some of them haven't made it. They probably won't.
They probably won't come up because it's too hot for them.
So maybe later when it cools down?
Yeah.
But we have the Genovese basil growing, which is here. And then these are the Swiss chard.
The rainbow chard, yeah.
That I planted.
So those we'll be transplanting those sometimes this week into other pots, and then we'll wait for them to get a little bit bigger, and then we'll be transplanting them somewhere in the yard. I don't know where yet.
So this is an update in the area of our herbs. The ones that you can see that are still there are the parsley. That's a very persistent, resistant plant which I adore. The Greek basil, it grew tall. Right now it's kind of bent because we were watering. Well, husband was. But it's doing good. It's recovering from the mites, right?
Yeah, well, there wasn't so much the mites as the cabbage loopers that got to them.
And this is the mint. I can smell it.
And that, well, that's the mint isn't really growing very well.
So this is the lemon balm?
This is all lemon balm.
Oh, well, I smell something.
The mint is coming back. It's just very slow.
Yeah. And then this is sage. And what's that in the back?
Cilantro. It's taking its time. It's not growing very good because it's hot. I don't like that one in the hot weather.
What about this one in the front?
Which one?
This one.
Oh, that's manjo.
And then the next one?
That's thyme, which so far is still living. I haven't killed it yet.
And this is chard that's been there since last year.
Yeah, and then also our
rosemary, the new one. I love rosemary.
The new one. And you can see I went ahead and I put the, right now I'm in the process of putting the compost on top. This is the woody compost that I use as a top layer. It breaks down a little bit slower and keeps in the moisture.
So there's still a cucumber alive?
Yes. They're not doing very well,
but there's one kind of like growing there.
This year wasn't a good year for
cucumbers.
For cucumbers. We had a lot of mite problems, but I think next year we're ready.
Oh my god, do you see? The peppers are all the way over here, flowering. And
those are Italian peppers.
Okay, people, so if you're growing Italian peppers, use long stakes or cages because they grow tall. Like that's.
Or you could cut them down. You could do that too. Like next year we'll have much bushier plants because we're going to cut them down.
There's some strawberries there. The comfrey root is doing great. The blackberry is being trimmed down, but it's good because it was feeding cabbage loopers. We didn't want that. No more blackberries, but cabbage loopers. So big.
Yeah, well they're done for the season. Next year we'll have them. So we just chop them a little bit.
Well, if you guys remember, there was a ruta here. It was big, and it had what? Rocket in between?
Yeah.
Arugula, which was growing great with it. But at the end of the season, the ruta was also at the end of its season. It was here for about 10 years, and well, that was it. It was a great plant. It lasted a long time, and I say long because my mom always buys them and they don't last more than 2 months. So 10 years is, well, a record. And so we got a new one for about, what, $3?
No, it's $2.
$2?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to have.
That's why you should support your local farmers markets, because they have usually lots of plant starts that are very cheap, especially for herbs.
So yeah, farmers market
and support them.
It's a great way to support your local farmers, plus get great deals and get great crops and fruits and herbs and stuff. We grow many of our herbs from seed, but we also buy some sometimes to support the others, because it is true sometimes you might have plants and they don't survive. So as you noticed in previous videos, I always tell you that I'm germinating 2 or 3 packets, or like here we grew a lot of kale because, well, it died. So some of them die, some of them survive, so it's better to be prepared just because you really want your yield, especially if you don't have that much space, because if you have like a farm and stuff, well, you plant enough to have enough to eat and to grow and plant and harvest. But if you have a small place, you still want 2 or 3, and then if all of them make it, well, just use the excess and give it to a friend as a gift. So, thank you for watching.